is controversial inside Trump's own orbit. I mean, you go inside Trump's own orbit, and it is split down the middle with half the people thinking he's going to be a disaster for any Donald Trump administration, and they never wanted this nomination to see the light of day.
Just a few short weeks ago, it would have been hard for Trump to sink lower than nominating a guy who was recently under investigation for sex trafficking to be the nation's top law enforcement official. And while Trump certainly tried to prove that wrong with nominee after nominee, including his pick for defense secretary, former Fox News host Pete Hegseth, who just had quite the colorful whistleblower report come out about him that we'll cover in a separate video, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel. But somehow, Trump managed to go even lower with his latest pick. So what, pray tell, could be worse than that? So bad that it has all of Trump world scared and deeply worried?
When Patel was installed as chief of staff to the acting secretary of defense just after the 2020 election, Mark Milley, who of course was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, advised him to not break the law. Quote, life looks really shitty from behind bars, Milley reportedly told Patel. When Trump entertained naming Patel deputy director of the FBI, Attorney General Bill Barr, again, another Trump loyalist, confronted the White House chief of staff and said, quote, over my dead body.
Yeah. Kash Patel, Trump's new pick for FBI director, is so dangerous and unqualified that Bill fucking Barr said he'd only get the job over his dead body. So Bill, buddy, you may want to look over your shoulder, especially when Kash is out here saying stuff like this.
The deep state, the administrative state, the fourth branch of government never mentioned in the Constitution, is going to be taken apart brick by brick. And the people that did these evil deeds will be held accountable and prosecuted, criminal prosecutions. Kash, I know you're probably going to be head of the CIA, but do you believe that you can deliver the goods on this in a pretty short order the first couple of months so we can get rolling on prosecutions?
Yes, we got the bench for it, Bannon, and you know those guys. I'm not going to go out there and say their names right now so the radical left-wing media can terrorize them. But, excuse me, the one thing we learned in the Trump administration the first go-around is we got to put in all America patriots top to bottom. And we got them for law enforcement. We got them for intel collection. We got them for offensive operations. We got them for DOD, CIA, everywhere. We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice. And Steve, this is why they hate us. This is why we're tyrannical. This is why we're dictators.
And as you probably noted there from his rhetoric and the fact he was talking to Steve Bannon, Kash Patel is a notorious conspiracy theorist, an obsequious or obedient little lickspittle.
When in the final weeks of the administration, Trump planned to name Patel deputy director of the CIA, Gina Haspel, the head of the CIA, threatened to resign. Trump relented only after an intervention from Vice President Mike Pence. She goes on to ask, who is this man and why did so many top officials fear him?
And Trump's announcement Saturday night to appoint him not head of the CIA, but instead as the FBI director is abnormal for a number of reasons. Not the least of which is that Christopher Wray, the current FBI director, still has more than 2 years left on his term. And Wray, you might recall, was handpicked by Trump to replace Jim Comey, who quickly got on Trump's bad side by refusing to close an investigation of his campaign.
Start with the idea that he'd have to fire Chris Wray. Let's remember, he fired FBI Director James Comey, which almost brought his administration down in 2017, and Republicans in a fury. Now he talks about firing Chris Wray. Most in the GOP shrug, go along with it. This is the new normal in Donald Trump's Washington, they believe.
And that is not good because Patel is considered unqualified for the post even by staunch Trump-supporting conservatives. He's made it clear he intends to use his power to attack the, quote, deep state, which he frames as a needed populist purge of corrupt establishment. But in reality, Patel is poised to use the resources of the FBI to target Trump's political opponents and criminalize resistance.
He seems, according to this piece and everything we've seen, singularly focused on exacting revenge on people who did not carry through on Donald Trump's threats of retribution. He promises to arrest journalists and reporters and news people who refused to go along with the 2020 Stop the Steal conspiracy theory.
But I just want to take you through a little bit of how we got here and show how much worse it could get. Because Patel's primary qualification, as we heard a little bit there, for running the FBI is essentially a spotless record of doing whatever Trump wants him to do. He was an undistinguished Florida defense attorney and DOJ staffer until 2017 when he was hired to work for the House Permanent Select Committee, which at the time was led by MAGA flunky Devin Nunes, who was on Trump's first transition team and is now the chief executive officer of the Trump Media and Technology Group. And Patel headed the committee's investigation of Russian interference on behalf of Trump in the 2016 campaign. He was the main author of the Nunes memo, a partisan attack on the Justice Department intended to obscure links between Trump's campaign and Russia. And Trump was delighted by Patel's open hackery and declassified the document despite Justice Department objections. So pleased by Patel's work with Nunes, Trump began to boost Patel into more and more powerful positions. He became a National Security Council staffer, then a top advisor to the acting director of national intelligence, and in 2019, Trump tried to install Patel as a, quote, political executioner, vetting White House aides and firing those who weren't loyal enough to him.
And the man that Trump says he wants to put in Ray's stead, Kash Patel, perceived by many to be deeply dangerous because he has indeed, as you note, no qualifications for this job. Many of Trump's former aides said as much 4 years ago. But Patel, I'm told, and I'm talking to people in the orbit the last couple of days, there is no ideology. There's no agenda here other than retribution. Patel's one defining characteristic is that he is simply loyal to Donald Trump. And even inner circle Trump members of the last few years have been startled by Patel's willingness to simply do whatever Trump wants.
Let me stop you right there. Kash Patel is not just controversial among media outlets.
No.
Are Democrats. He's not just controversial among Republican senators. He is controversial inside Trump's own orbit.
Yeah, people I've talked to say this pick was a nod to the extreme right-wing portions of Trump base, the Steve Bannon, ultra MAGA sector here, who had been disappointed by some of Trump's more conventional picks. So this is Trump throwing them red meat because he knows he needs to keep them happy. But there are others in Trump world deeply worried about this pick who feel like Patel is not only unqualified, but indeed dangerous, that Patel will never think twice, never hesitate in carrying out whatever Trump wants, even if it means potentially, people say, breaking the law.
And it is quite obvious that Patel would have no objections to using the Bureau to smear Trump's enemies with lies or truths. Trump and Patel say they want to bridle the FBI and reform it, but when they talk about their concrete plans, it's clear that they want to reprise the agency's worst abuses, turning the DOJ into an authoritarian police force committed to doing Donald Trump's bidding. And frankly, I don't know if anyone in Trump world, scared shitless as they are, has the balls to do anything to stop this.
But there are mechanisms where if he were to fire Ray, Patel could step in an interim way for 200 or so odd days. That even that short sample size, even if he can't get confirmed, would be enough to carry out some of Trump's agenda.
So buckle up, folks.
It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
For Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse. I'll see you all in the next one.